1983 was the year that Charles Njonjo, Kenya's Minister for Home and Constitutional Affairs and former Attorney General, lost the political power he had wielded since Kenya's independence 20 years earlier. Throughout the latter part of 1982, President Daniel Arap Moi's response to the failed coup attempt against his government had been mainly to find and punish the plotters. But by the end of the year, Moi was starting to chart out a political response to the coup that went beyond the military challenge to his rule. He appointed a new Attorney General, Justice Matthew Guy Mulley, to replace Joseph Kamere, a Njonjo man. In January, former Air Force Commander Major General Peter Kariuki was sentenced to 4 years in jail by a military court for his part in the failed coup attempt. What exactly Moi was up to remained baffling, especially in view of the flurry of seemingly unrelated actions that he was taking on so many fronts. But by the time Parliament resumed in mid-March, it had become common knowledge among Kenyan politicians that Njonjo was the target of many of Moi's moves. And sure enough, on May 8th, at a Harambee meeting in Kisii, Moi said there was someone being groomed by some foreign powers to take over the presidency. In the same breath, he said he had complete trust in his vice president, Mwai Kibaki. There was little doubt in the minds of most observers that Moi was referring to Njonjo. On June 29th, Moi suspended Njonjo from the cabinet and appointed Court of Appeal Justice Cecil Miller to head a commission of inquiry to investigate his conduct. The commission began its work in October, but by that time, Njonjo had resigned as an MP and as chairman of the ruling party's branch in Kikuyu. For the first time since independence, Njonjo became a private citizen. To get rid of Njonjo's allies in Parliament, Moi turned to voters. The next general election was not due till the following year, but Moi announced Kenyans would go to the polls in September that year. And voters did not disappoint Moi. As in previous elections, half of the incumbents lost their seats. 5 ministers, among them Njonjo allies like Gigi Kariuki in Laikipia and Joseph Kamotho in Kangema, were defeated. In the new cabinet that he formed after the general election, Moi retained Kibaki as vice president. He nominated a University of Nairobi mathematics professor, George Saitoti, to Parliament and gave him the key Ministry of Finance. In the rest of the appointments, Moi tried to ensure a regional balance in the portfolios not very different from the previous government. But Moi now had absolute control over his ministers. It was a much more politically confident Moi who played host to Britain's Queen Elizabeth II when she paid an official visit to Kenya in October. In November, he would prevail upon Tanzania to repatriate coup plotter Ochuka to Kenya to face a court-martial. And the following month, Kenya and Tanzania reopened diplomatic relations which had been severed since the collapse of the East African Community in 1977. March 1983 saw the dissolution of the City Council of Nairobi by local minister Moses Mudavadi amidst endless political infighting amongst city councillors. In its place, Mudavadi appointed a commission chaired by Patrick Mungola to run the affairs of the city. 1983 was the year in which the ruling party KANU launched 2 daily newspapers, Kenya Times and Kenya Leo. It was also the year the Kenya National Transport Company, KENATCO, was put under receivership due to unpaid debts owed to the National Bank of Kenya. And it was the year a Congolese woman, Grace Aluma, conned many high-profile Kenyans of millions of shillings by pretending she was a business partner of President Mobutu Sese Seko. In 1983, Kenyans said farewell to COTU Secretary General Juma Boy, former Speaker of Parliament Humphrey Slade, former head of Block Hotels Jack Block, and famous radio journalist Stephen Kikumu.